In this video, I'd like to take a look at some structures from around the world, propose some of my ideas surrounding them, maybe encourage you to look at things in a different way if you haven't looked at them in this light before. Let's start here. This is on the Silk Road. I actually don't have the location. It could be in Western China or somewhere in there. But we have here the evidence of an old building. And if you look closely, you can kind of see what look like brick lines. And that, of course, becomes very obscured and starts to look like the rock itself surrounding it. And if we look in the foreground here, we get a sense of melting going on along the tops of these little caps here. What I would suggest would be something similar to what we're looking at here, but it's all completely melted down. So I have no explanations for any of these. I'm just proposing my hypothesis, and I wanted to share the visuals, and you can create your own, of course. I encourage you to. This pajama castle. Let's have a look here. And as we take a closer look, we get a feel for what's going on really back in here. What I suggest is, or what I'm starting to think, is we are looking at some sort of event that happened in the past here that turned what we know as buildings into now what we know as mountains, rock, whatever you want to call it. Something happened, because there's too much that I've come across that really can't be explained. If you have a look at this one, there you have a little bit of building in there, and then it's sort of engulfing the castle. So this one, a very interesting one to take a closer look at. Even look at the foundation of the building and how uneven it is. It looks like these rocks start to look like blistering. This one I'm not entirely sure of the location. I would take a guess that it's somewhere maybe in Scotland, somewhere around there. But interesting, you see the castle right on the edge. You even get a bit of what looked like a wall here. And that look seems to continue right down into what we would know as the cliff, even with a bit of an arch here. So maybe these can help you look at the world in a different way. Maybe there's much more to the story. This is in Italy. Again, I can't remember exactly where. This one jumped out at me when I first found it. We've got, of course, finished and livable buildings along the top here. And you have some sort of cliffside. I don't know what you want to... Some people will call them caves. Yeah, sure, that one might look like a cave. What about this one? That's a pretty square opening. This one, yeah, very anomalous. Hard to define what we'd call man-made and natural. So this, if anything, this video should really blur those lines for you. Here's another one that will do that for you. This in Afghanistan. Ancient Red City, they're calling it. Now we do slap the term ancient on anything that looks what we might think of as this old. You obviously see the man-made evidence here. Here in the foreground looking much more natural. Somewhere in between, maybe back there, natural, sure, depends, maybe not, looks like a wall there. Notice how it all looks the same as well, that same color. But I propose that we're not looking at aging here, we are looking at some sort of high heat devastation that fuses this stuff together. The Red City in Afghanistan. Here's another one. Obviously that very well defined. You might say, okay, well, somebody just built that on the edge of a cliff. Sure, maybe. And then you have this situation here. Well, again, there's a wall going back here, and it sort of just turns into, I don't know, a cliff. And then you have a wall coming toward us here, and then just ending. And difficult as you move down, it becomes what maybe like an ice cream look again, right? A melting, a blending of natural and man-made. Now we jump to Algeria and get a similar effect. The bottom's looking, we could say maybe that's just some sort of coating, possibly, very possible. But you look here in the foreground and you can see the brick lines and how it all looks fused together. There's no real definition between the bricks. And then you look in the background at the existing structure. and it starts to look a little bit more like individual bricks, but at the same time still looking like one piece. And hard to tell sometimes between brick and stone block work, so there's a real gray area there as well. Algeria as well, showing you again how thick these walls are, like how many bricks thick is that, and then also a bit of dip going on here. And now we're looking at Ani, Turkey, A-N-I. I like this one. This one's really sort of just weaves through the plains, and you get all this evidence along the edge here, and in the foreground you start to see obviously that real man-made look. A bit of a coating there. You get like a back layer of bricks and then a coating. You'll see that in other pictures as well. And you have what we're calling the caves down below. And what I propose is possibly all of this once looked like an intact brick type structure, and fused into some sort of rock. And I know it's a vast departure from what we've been taught, but I'm of the mind now that what we've been taught is not for our benefit, and is in fact to control us, to control our minds, to control our actions. So I'm venturing out into other territories, and I encourage you to do the same. Same place, Ani, Turkey. Here you get that foreground. You see the coating here, and then you get a bit of that brick back layer, not looking much like brick anymore, and then you get that sense in the background of much more beneath the surface. Aragon, Spain. Wanted to just show this one briefly. How the heck do you build something up there? Of course, we know they were super builders back then, so I would love to know how they propose this was done. Crimea, Uspensky. A lot of monasteries have been attributed to what we're seeing here, these buildings that are sort of engulfed in the cliff. Very difficult to see the difference between the cliff and the building. India here, calling it Balancing Rock. This one jumps right out at like a big balloon rock here. To me, a bit of brickwork going on down there, block work. Interesting structure. And there you see in this corner, you can kind of see a coating again over top of the brick. And that theme will sort of repeat here. This New York, Bannerman's Castle, New York. This one's an anomaly. This building, very interesting, very weak backstory. If you look at the bottom, you have similar aging to what we've seen in other places, and then you have that bit of a brickwork, and then you have a coating, and the coating's starting to peel off. Anomalous for sure, that one. Belarus here. I don't have a more specific location, but this one highlights nicely the brick. There's a strip of brick in there, sort of, and then you have the rock, and then on top you have that rock again. So, I mean, unless you're proposing that they used a bunch of rock and then they got a shipment of brick, so they said they'd throw it in, and then they ran out, so they just decided to finish with the rock. Sure, that could be an explanation. Go with it if you want. Doesn't feel right to me. Bilbao, Spain. Not a great picture. As we zoom in, it gets a bit fuzzy, but you get what I would describe as blistering. We're going right up the structure. Either that, or you are going to propose to me that they blended in the brickwork with some sort of rock edge cliff. Go ahead, propose it. Bolzano, Italy. Again, you see built right on the edge. How is my question, and how do you do brickwork? Weave it into an existing cliff edge and make sure that everything remains aligned. Very difficult proposal to put forth to a builder. Bran Castle, Romania. Here again you're seeing what I would call blistering, where it crawls up the building. Down here you're seeing more evidence of block or brickwork or ballooned block or rock. And then you have the structure intact up here. This is in Brazil. I wanted to highlight that same look. You get that red brick underneath and you get that veneer on top. Thailand, same features. This one really surprised me when I first discovered it. Thailand I do not think of as red brick. As far as the old structures go, I always thought stone. So definitely anomalous to what we have been told or taught. And we get to our last castle, last building. This is Bucali Castle in Scotland. I like this one as well. You can see the remains of what was once here sort of in the walls. And then you have this structure really jumping out at you as an old building. And where do we draw the line between building and cliff? Really hard to tell. You get that real sense of red brick, or is it just natural? Is this a wall? And there you have it again, the same. From further out, it gives you a sense of there seems to have been much more than meets the eye here. So either we can say that this is an entire structure, or the structure stops here. If this is an entire structure, this is basically turned to stone. What the heck happened? I think the question, what the heck happened, is a valid question, and we need to get closer to the truth, always looking for answers and always trying to get closer to the truth. And that's all I'm trying to do here, and I wanted to share with you some of my discoveries. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate you watching.